Most people don't realize this, but shoulders are one of the easiest muscles to think you're training while actually missing the mark completely. You finish chest day, your front delts feel fried, maybe you toss in a few rushed lateral raises at the end, and you walk away convinced your shoulders got enough work. Then weeks go by, months go by, and when you look in the mirror, nothing has really changed. No width, no roundness, no presence from the side, just the same flat, underwhelming shoulders staring back at you. What makes it worse is the effort is there. You're pressing heavy, you're pushing weight, you're grinding through workouts, but the results don't match the work. And that's where the frustration kicks in. Because strong, well-built shoulders aren't just a gym flex. They completely change how your body looks and carries itself in real life. They make your frame look wider, your waist look smaller, your posture more upright, and your entire presence more confident and athletic. The uncomfortable truth? Most people aren't lacking effort, they're lacking precision. Shoulder training is one of the most misunderstood areas in the gym, and that misunderstanding is exactly why so many lifters stay stuck with narrow, sloped, or underdeveloped delts. But that ends today, because in this video, I'm breaking down exactly what you've been missing and how to fix it efficiently. Before we get into it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss workouts and strategies that actually produce visible results, not just sweat and soreness. Now here's the reality check most lifters need. You're probably overworking one part of your shoulders and severely undertraining the part that creates the biggest visual impact. Anytime you bench press, incline press, or overhead press, you're already smashing your anterior delts, the front head of the shoulder. That muscle gets plenty of stimulation whether you realize it or not. And while that's fine, it's not what builds wide, capped, three-dimensional shoulders. The look everyone wants, that round, full, powerful shoulder shape, comes from properly developing the side delts and rear delts. These two heads are responsible for width, depth, balance, and that armor-like appearance across your upper body. Ignore them, and no amount of pressing will save your physique. Out of the two, the rear delts are by far the most neglected muscle group in most people's routines. They're harder to isolate, harder to feel, and they don't give you that instant pump that front or side delts do. But skipping them comes at a cost. Poor posture, rounded shoulders, increased injury risk, and a physique that looks unfinished no matter how strong you are. And zooming out even further, strong, rounded shoulders don't just make you look better shirtless, they visually taper your waist, pull your posture back into alignment, and give you a calm, confident, commanding presence without you saying a word. Let's start with exercise number 1. Lateral raises, the foundation for building wide, round, superhero-level shoulders. If shoulder width is your goal, this movement is non-negotiable. Nothing else targets the side delts as directly or as effectively when done correctly. You've probably heard endless arguments about the best way to do lateral raises: seated versus standing, incline versus upright, dumbbells versus cables. Here's the truth most people overlook. None of those variations matter if the target muscle isn't doing the work. Position doesn't build delts, tension does. The biggest mistake lifters make is treating lateral raises like a simple movement from point A to point B. They swing the weights, involve the traps, and chase heavier dumbbells thinking more weight equals more growth. In reality, the side delts respond best to controlled, sustained mechanical tension, especially through the middle and top portion of the lift. This is why lateral raises are not a strength exercise, they're a precision exercise. The goal isn't to impress anyone with weight. The goal is to lock in tension on the side delts and keep it there rep after rep. If your traps are taking over, if momentum is doing the lifting, or if you can't feel your side delts working, then the exercise is failing its purpose. Instead of asking, should I do these seated or standing, the real question should be, can I keep my side delts under tension for the entire set without anything else stealing the workload? And that brings us to an important shift in mindset. Lighter weight isn't weaker weight. Unlike big compound lifts like squats or deadlifts, lateral raises reward control, patience, and discipline far more than raw load. This movement was never meant to feed your ego. Lateral raises aren't about how heavy the dumbbells look in your hands, they're about control, accuracy, and intent. The moment you load them too heavy, the exercise starts falling apart. Your body instinctively swings, your traps jump in to help, momentum does half the lift, and the side delts, the very muscle you're trying to grow, get pushed into the background. But the second you drop the weight to something light or moderate, the entire experience changes. Suddenly, you're in control. You can feel the side delts activate from the very first rep, stay engaged through the middle of the movement, and burn all the way to the last repetition. That's why you'll often see advanced lifters grabbing relatively light dumbbells, 10s, 15s, maybe 20s, and absolutely demolishing their shoulders, while ego lifters are violently swinging 40s and wondering why their delts never grow. Growth doesn't come from how much weight you move. It comes from how much tension you keep on the muscle. To get the most out of lateral raises, there are a few non-negotiable cues you should lock into your technique every single time. First, lead with your elbows. Don't think about lifting the dumbbells with your hands. Visualize your elbows being pulled outward and upward, with your hands simply following along. That small mental shift alone can dramatically increase side delt activation. Next, pause briefly at the top. Even a half-second hold can skyrocket tension and force the muscle to work harder instead of bouncing through the movement. That subtle lean isn't cheating, it's strategic. It helps place the stress exactly where it belongs. From there, the variation you choose becomes secondary. Seated lateral raises are excellent for limiting momentum and forcing strict form, making them ideal for beginners or anyone focused on clean execution. Standing raises feel more natural for many lifters, but they demand discipline to avoid body swing. Regardless of the version you choose, the objective never changes. Pick the variation where you feel the most direct, uninterrupted tension in your side delts and keep that tension alive for the entire set. Now, while lateral raises are the sculpting tool that carve width and shape into your shoulders, they aren't enough on their own. That's where the next movement comes in. The shoulder press is the heavy hitter, the mass builder that gives your shoulders thickness, density, and raw power. Think of it as the squat of shoulder training. Just like the bench press anchors chest development, the shoulder press lays the foundation for upper body strength and size. This movement recruits all three heads of the deltoid, front, side, and even the rear to a degree, while primarily emphasizing the front and side delts. At the same time, it brings in the triceps, traps, and core to stabilize the lift, making it one of the most productive compound exercises you can do for overall upper body development. One of the biggest advantages of the shoulder press is load potential. Unlike isolation movements, it allows for meaningful progressive overload over time. And that ability to steadily increase strength is what drives long-term muscle growth. Beyond aesthetics, pressing strengthens shoulder stability, improves posture, and builds real-world strength that carries over to sports, work, and everyday life. While you can press with barbells, machines, or kettlebells, dumbbells often stand out as the most joint-friendly and adaptable option. They allow each arm to work independently, helping correct strength imbalances, and they promote a more natural movement path that reduces stress on the shoulders. To set up for the dumbbell shoulder press, sit tall on a bench with back support. Plant your feet firmly into the floor to create a stable base. Hold the dumbbells at shoulder height with your palms facing forward or slightly inward, whichever position feels most comfortable for your shoulder joints. Brace your core, keep your spine neutral, and allow only a small, natural arch in your lower back. As you press, drive the dumbbells upward in a smooth, controlled arc until they're stacked directly over your head. Stop just short of clanking them together. Fully extend your arms without aggressively locking out the elbows. Then lower the weights slowly and deliberately back to shoulder level, resisting gravity the entire way down. Control on the way up, control on the way down. That's how strength and size are built. For execution, think in terms of controlled intent. The upward phase of the press should be powerful but smooth, taking about 1 second to drive the weight overhead. The lowering phase, however, deserves more respect. Take 2 to 3 full seconds to bring the dumbbells back down. That slow, controlled eccentric is where the real stimulus happens. Rushing reps might feel productive, but controlled tension is what actually forces the muscle to grow. How you program this movement depends entirely on your goal. If hypertrophy is your priority, aim for 3 to 4 quality sets in the 8 to 12 rep range, focusing on clean reps and consistent tempo. If your goal is raw strength, push heavier loads for 4 to 6 sets of 4 to 6 reps, resting longer and emphasizing maximal control. And if muscular endurance or volume is the focus, lighten the load and push 2 to 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps, keeping tension high throughout the set. As for rest periods, 60 to 90 seconds between sets works well for most lifters, striking a balance between recovery and intensity. As effective as the shoulder press is, it's also easy to mess up if you're not paying attention. One common mistake is letting the elbows flare excessively wide, which increases unnecessary joint stress. Another is rushing to add weight before mastering technique. Whenever form breaks down, progress stalls. Be mindful not to lean too far back, as that turns the press into a chest-dominant movement and places strain on the lower back. And finally, avoid shrugging the weights upward. Once your traps take over, tension leaves the delts, and the purpose of the exercise is lost. There are plenty of variations you can rotate in depending on your preferences and goals. The barbell overhead press, whether seated or standing, allows for heavier loading, while the standing version adds a serious demand on core stability and total body control. Used consistently and executed with intention, pressing movements don't just build muscle, they build structure, strength, and presence. Now, this is where most routines fall short. You can build size with presses and shape with lateral raises, but if you want shoulders that look complete, healthy, and powerful from every angle, you need a third movement that ties everything together. Exercise number 3, rear delt flies. This is the missing link in shoulder training for most people. Rear delts don't scream for attention, but they play a massive role in posture, shoulder balance, and overall aesthetics. Strong rear delts pull the shoulders back, counteract the constant forward pull of pressing and sitting, and give your upper body that thick, armored look from the side and back. Rear delt flies can be done with dumbbells, cables, or on a reverse pec deck machine, but the principles stay the same. The goal is pure isolation and constant tension. Start with light weight, much lighter than you think you need. Hinge forward at the hips, keep a neutral spine, and let your arms hang slightly in front of you. From there, raise the weights outward and back in a wide arc, focusing on squeezing your shoulder blades apart without shrugging. Just like lateral raises, this movement is not about momentum. Lead with your elbows, keep a slight bend in the arms, and pause briefly at the top to maximize tension. Lower the weight slowly and under control, taking 2 to 3 seconds on the way down. If you feel this mostly in your traps or lower back, the weight is too heavy. For programming, rear delt flies respond best to moderate to higher reps. Aim for 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 20 reps, focusing on clean execution and a strong mind-muscle connection. This movement isn't about load progression, it's about consistency, control, and balance over time. When you combine these 3 exercises, lateral raises for width, shoulder presses for mass, and rear delt flies for balance and posture, you cover the entire shoulder from every angle. No wasted movements, no weak links, just intelligent training that builds shoulders that look strong, athletic, and complete. Do these movements consistently, train them with purpose, and you won't just build muscle, you'll build a frame that commands confidence, whether you're lifting in the gym, walking into a room, or simply standing tall. That's it for today. If you found this breakdown useful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss workouts and strategies that actually move the needle. Let's keep getting stronger together. I'll see you in the next video.